right, everybody, welcome back to the OHIO podcast. I am Buckeye Boggs. That man over there, that's Zack Gugenheim. He is the host of Big Ten Football Talk and the co-host of the Big Ten Huddle over there with my co-host, JR. And so we're all just one big happy family in Big Ten country that happens to bleed scarlet and gray. And we're thankful that you all decided to join us for what is a Ryan Day Answers the Toughest Question Ever Asked to Him edition of the OHIO podcast. Now, this past week, Zach, has been a difficult week if you are a Buckeye fan. You have lost to your rival 4 consecutive years in a row.
I blocked this game out. There was a game last Saturday?
There was indeed.
There
There
was?
was indeed.
Oh,
Yes.
that wasn't just a nightmare.
No, it wasn't. It was
Oh,
real. It was
that's
real, and it is a reality I have been living with every day running an Ohio State podcast. I have seen so many Walmart Wolverines in my mentions running victory laps that I'm seeing them in my sleep. I'm dizzy. I have vertigo just from watching them run laps around me. Yeah, it's rough. Let
We
me
got to
tell
get
you.
that checked out.
Yeah, it's a condition. It's not good. It's not good at all. Anyways, Zach, Ryan Day had a press conference Wednesday because Wednesday was actually early National Signing Day in college football. Ohio State signed according to 247 Sports, the 5th best class in college football this year. At one time, it was number 1. Doesn't end there, never does, but was still top 5. Michigan was number 7. They had a great finish. They finished strong in the 2025 cycle, which isn't done yet, believe it or not. I mean, he's still got another couple months before the real National Signing Day takes place. But now the real signing day is the early one. But Ryan Day went up to the podium to answer questions from the media on Wednesday, and he did so for approximately 50 minutes or so. About 20, 24, 25 minutes of that were answering questions about the recruiting class that he signed. And then someone asked if they were allowed to ask questions about the game. They had to ask permission to ask questions about the game. And there was this awkward silence. And then Jerry said yes. And then the questions started coming.
As they should.
And coming. And Ryan Day was uncomfortable. He was in complete deflecting mode. He did answer a few of them where he took some responsibility. Kind of. I mean, he would probably say to me, Eric, what do you want me to say? I said, at the end of the day, it falls on me. I'm the head coach, and I need to take responsibility for this. Yes, but in the meantime, why are you deflecting? And you're going to hear this. So I'm going to play for everybody a question by Bill Landis. Hats off to Bill Landis, who was trained by Doug Maurice.
I was going to say, it's...
Okay. He might not be at the Cleveland Plain Dealer anymore with Doug Maurice. They've moved on to greener pastures, some might say, in the sports media world. But Bill Landis was asking a follow-up question, and it was a simple question, and it was the hardest question Ryan Day has ever been asked. And Zach, I want you to hear this response that Ryan Day tries. The amount of mental gymnastics he does in trying to answer this simple question is mind-boggling to me. I want you to listen to it. I'm going to get your raw response.
Yep. I've not heard this, by the way.
Yes,
this is the first time. So this is my first time live response here.
And then after we dissect his response, we're going to then offer a suggestion if we were the PR guy for Ryan Day on how we would have suggested he answer this question. So that being said, Zach, here we go.
You guys now are on year 4 of at least not reaching 2 of those stated goals. Obviously, the third one is still out in front of you. Why are you the right coach to get the team to that point this season?
Yeah, no, I hear you. I can't sit here and tell you that, as I look back on the 4 years, if there's like one thing in common, you look at each game and you can identify different things that didn't go well, and ultimately the result's the result, and so our guys, first off, love Ohio State. They are completely bought in. I thought they played extremely hard in that game, and I thought they wanted to win that game more than anything else. And so I think the culture is strong as it's ever been. I think we have great players. I think we have great coaches. It was a bad day, and so now we have to go forward, and we got to, and the mindset is go win the whole thing now, and that's it. Like, we can't go back and start, second guessing things at this point. Certainly, you can imagine how that's happened here in the last, few days, but. We have to move forward. We have to focus on that. And, again, when you look at our type of guys, you look at the program, you look at, the way our guys compete, you look at, the way our guys develop, you look at, we won a lot of games. We're 10-2. Now, I know we didn't win this one in some key games, and that hurts. So we got to keep learning from it and growing from it and building on it. Every time you go through some of this, you learn more and more, and, that has to be the case here.
You guys now are...
Fire him. That's my response.
That's awful.
What are we doing? What is he doing?
Deflecting.
What makes you the right guy?
What makes you the right guy?
I'm gonna change by throwing to my wide receivers.
He couldn't answer why he's the right guy.
Yeah. He's not.
What a brilliant question, by the way, Bill Landis.
Yeah.
Brilliant question. Point blank, you've not achieved your goals. There's one still out ahead of you. Why are you the right guy to get them to where they need to be?
Yeah.
He couldn't
answer the question.
He couldn't answer it, Zach. He had no idea. He has no clue why he's the right guy.
Yeah. Well, and what's frustrating is you can talk culture all you want. Here's the problem. Your culture has proven that you can't beat Michigan. So you don't have the best culture, because that's a requirement of the head coach of Ohio State. Jim Tressel got that. Urban Meyer got that. Woody Hayes got that. John Cooper didn't. And Coop went 2-10-1, and he found out the real hard way that you can accumulate a lot of talent and you can put a lot of people in the NFL, but still be viewed as a failure at Ohio State. And that's what Ryan Day is right now. He is a failure. He has one win against Michigan with the best Ohio State team in my lifetime. And he choked the Clemson game away that season. I know people get mad at the refs. Listen, that game, Ohio State should have beat Clemson that year by multiple scores, and instead he settled for field goals like he has always done. He got conservative with play calling like he always has done. The Clemson game is on him too. Oh my gosh.
I have made you so frustrated with this, Zach. I knew, listen. I wrote 3 things down. I want you to respond to the 3 things you wrote down. His response to why he is the right coach to get this job done, the players are bought in.
In what way?
What are they bought into?
Yeah.
The culture? Are they bought into you? Are they bought into getting the job done? What are they bought in on? And if they're bought in, my question back to Ryan Day is, are you bought in?
So I want to go back to something that, as I've thought about it more, is concerning. So Will Howard, before the Michigan game, said he wanted to win it so bad. And Jack Sawyer said the same thing. They wanted to win it so bad for Ryan Day. And Ryan Day's like, I really want to win it for the players. And at first I was like, I think that's really good. Except as I've thought about it more, I'm like, they shouldn't want to win it for a coach. It's not about the coach. It's about Ohio State. Like that's the, and I don't know if they get that the whole state of Ohio, like it's that game matters more than anything else.
Right.
And like, listen, I've liked Ryan Day as a person ever since he's been here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he does a lot of good things. So like any negativity I say about Ryan Day, personally, I think he's a great guy. He's a great advocate for mental health. He's a great, so many good things. But when you say that you have a good culture and that guys are bought in, but you can't score more than 10 points against a team that has bad corners and like that, Travion Henderson can't judge a kickoff return right, and offensive linemen are missing their blocks, and Will Howard is missing like, yeah, what are they bought into? I don't know. Are they just bought into Ryan Day? And if that's the case, well, it should never be about Ryan Day. It should be about the program.
So I think Ryan Day. I gotta say this carefully. I think Ryan Day has a lot of great value he can sell to players and parents that include everything but football. And maybe I'm wrong. I thought I was wrong years ago. I thought Ryan Day was a football savant. And I still stand by my comment that Ryan Day is a great play caller and a great developer of quarterbacks if that's what he's concentrating on.
Mm-hmm.
I do not think Ryan Day is a program builder.
Nope.
He says the culture is strong. It's the second thing I wrote down. You hit on it. We're going to spend a large chunk of the offseason on this program dissecting what is Ohio State's culture.
Mm-hmm.
Because the culture has shifted under Ryan Day's leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Is there really good aspects of the culture at Ohio State? Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. 10-win seasons are good.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of programs can say that. Okay. But there is definitely some things in our culture that are missing.
Yeah.
That are evident at some of the better programs around the country.
Yeah. Can I speak to that?
Sure, go right ahead.
I think one that is just so staggering is for 4 years in a row we have had very good to elite running backs that can't run the ball.
Yeah, there's an offensive line issue at Ohio State.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Which, by the way, for all the excitement about National Signing Day, you got 3 offensive linemen again. You missed out on David Sanders again. And it's like, well, we're going to address it in the portal. Right, because you did that the last 3 yeers.
Definition of insanity.
Right. Let's keep doing the same thing.
Well, so one of the things that's missing is what I call trench warfare. I alluded to this again last week, and I'm sorry to be repeating myself, but it needs to be repeated. The last stud defensive lineman we developed, Chase Young.
Yep.
It's been that long already.
Yep.
He's halfway done with his NFL career already.
Yeah. Well, and think Jack Sawyer and JT were the number 3 and 4 overall recruits in the country.
5-star studs.
Yeah.
and they will not be the first defensive ends taken in the NFL draft this year.
Yeah.
I promise you that.
Yeah.
Um, there is a issue with the trenches at Ohio State, and if there's one thing that Michigan has done much better than Ohio State in the last 4 years in developing, it is what I call trench warfare.
Yep. Yeah, significantly.
That there's no denying that. No one can argue that. Nobody. Nobody, as Jim Harbaugh would say. That's number two. So the culture is strong, I think, is incorrect. There are aspects of the culture that are great,
Mm-hmm.
but there are pieces of the culture at Ohio State currently that are not strong. In fact, they are weak. Number three, we're moving forward.
I like moving forward. How?
Yeah, how are we doing this?
Yeah.
When 4 days ago from this interview he did on Wednesday, your players, this happened, by the way, called a players only meeting with just you. And you didn't mention that at all. Now you say he shouldn't. That was a players only meeting. There's ways of mentioning that without mentioning it.
Mm-hmm.
I've spoken with the players. We have a plan. We have an understanding.
Yeah.
And here's how we're moving forward. You don't just say we're moving forward. You proclaim it. One of the things that Ryan Day is dealing with, and tell me if I'm wrong, Zach, but I've been thinking about this all week. Ryan Day, I think I know what his issue is. He has a serious self-confidence issue.
I mean, I think you're right, and I think
look at the game plans and play calling.
yeah. Well, and I think honestly, I think the game that broke his back and broke his will was 2022 Michigan. Because I think all the other games, like I think you saw glimmers of it with 2019 Clemson, but it was a really good Clemson team,
Sure.
right? And like, there
Trevor
were
Lawrence, ATN, yeah, they were good.
Yeah. In 2020, nobody was beating that Bama team, especially with the COVID players being out, like Trey Sermon.
Not with that
hurt.
defense, brother.
No, Trey Sermon got hurt second play of the game. And even Oregon, the offensive play calling wasn't the issue. The defense was just trash, which that was Ryan Day's fault, but that wasn't a play calling issue. It was they just weren't there. And then Michigan, I think similarly, I think Michigan was just a better team and they didn't have a defense. And so, okay, you bring in Jim Knowles, 2022, this is our year, right? Beat everybody. And then you get to Michigan and it's like everything looked good to start. But then all of a sudden you go into halftime with only a 3-point lead and your defense isn't doing what you thought it would. And now all of a sudden you really start to fade. And it feels like from that point on, outside of the Georgia game, which again, fourth quarter Georgia, I thought he also puckered up. But ever since that Michigan game in 2022, it has seemed like he has been just afraid. And yeah, self-confidence just not there.
It's not there.
Yeah. And it permeates the team. Everybody gets tighter.
It does.
Like Will Howard played his worst game. People can say all they want about concussion protocol and whatnot. I don't know if you guys talked about that at all, but he let it drive fine on the 2-minute drill.
Mm-hmm.
But they took the ball out of his hands after him throwing that pick, and Ryan Day says it's the wind. It's 12 miles an hour. Davis Warren was throwing balls, and he's terrible.
there was no other team had issues with it. And then the very
Like,
next day in the NFL, there was worse weather, and I still saw quarterbacks. Well, those are NFL quarterbacks. Will Howard has aspirations to go in the NFL.
yeah, he's got a strong enough arm. It was not that windy.
No,
Like, and if you're kicking 3 field goals with that wind, with a shaky field goal
right?
kicker, what we were worried about wind. Shut up. Like, and I think that's the frustrating thing about this whole thing is, are you the right guy? Listen, here's how you become the right guy. Step 1, stop BSing the media.
So okay, you're getting to where I want to get to next, right? Okay, so we're Ryan Day's PR guy. How do we fix what's going on here for him? Or how would we suggest Ryan answers this question, right? That's what I really want to ask you.
Besides naming his successor.
Yeah. There's a saying that you learn if you're down from the South, and that is when you say it with your chest. You ever heard that?
Yep.
Say it
That's good.
with when you say something, say it with having the belief and with the confidence behind it, that when you speak, you know the words you're speaking are true.
Yeah.
That's why I say I believe he has a serious self-confidence issue.
Yeah.
Nothing he says comes off as I believe what I'm saying.
Yeah. So you think about PR. The moment I knew Jim Tressel was the right guy at Ohio State was when he boldly went into I think it was it wasn't the Shot. It was, I forget,
Value City
St. John
Arena.
Value City Arena. He says, "You'll be proud of our young people in the classroom, in the community, and in 310 days in Ann Arbor, Michigan."
Yeah.
And honestly, what I would have, if I were Ryan Day and I got asked the question, "Are you the right guy?" All I would say was, "We're going to prove it over the next 3 weeks."
You nailed it. You sit there and you say, "Yeah, I'm the right guy. Watch what happens."
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to, and then the players are gonna be like, "Did you just hear what Ryan Day said?" And then the next practice, you start coaching like there's no doubt that you're going to win.
Yep.
Urban Meyer never took the practice field with doubt that they were going to lose that next game.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
It's always, we're going to win this game, and here's how we're going to win this game, and here's the part you're going to play.
Yeah.
He never says it with his chest.
Yep.
He never speaks boldly with proclamations of truth. Everything is always with self-doubt. And it is permeating this program and has affected the culture of this program. Yes, he needs to start speaking with more confidence. I don't know who Ryan Day's sports, I guess, psychologist is. I would imagine those meetings are getting very interesting.
Yep.
Because, the preparation of these. In fact, let me tell you exactly what I would have had him do. He would have taken that stand on Monday and say, "Look, we just signed the number 5th class in the country, but before I take any questions about this signing, this class that we are excited about, that is going to win a Big Ten championship, if not multiple Big Ten championships, and put us in place to win a national championship while they're here at Ohio State. Let me talk about the team that is currently here at Ohio State that deserves to win a national championship, and let me tell you why we failed. I failed them last Saturday in the shoe as their head coach, and why that will never happen again while I'm here at Ohio State." Buckeye Nation would have been back on the Ryan Day train. Let's go.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's pack the shoe. Let's shake the shoe.
Yeah.
Let's bring in the SEC. Bama, Tennessee, come in, boys. Our angry Ryan Day's back. He stood there, and I have zero confidence in him now.
Yep.
I still,
Yeah.
not saying now, but I've lost all confidence in him.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. There's none of that.
Yeah.
He's not taking control of the room,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Urban Day walks in. Jim Tressel walks in. They have completely different styles of answering questions in the media, but they control the room.
Yep.
Their presence, when they walk in. Nick Saban walks into a press conference. He controls the room. His presence controls the room.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Day puckers, and
Yep.
that's how he coaches.
Yep. 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 Players can feel it. I mean, I think that's the thing that's so frustrating in big games. And we saw it even with Oregon, is it just feels like the uncharacteristic mistake. Like, we know that you guys are trained. So, like, when a really good example of this in the Oregon game, Travion Henderson, who is a great player, great human being, great player. 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2, he has a clear hole to get a first down. And he sidesteps because he wants to make a bigger play instead and gets stopped short and they have to punt. Change the game. I think that's more because, and is Henderson accountable? Absolutely. But like, to me, it's mistakes like that happen all too regularly in big games because I think the players play tight. And I think it's because of the man that's leading them. And don't get me started about the offensive coordinator that Ryan Day brought in, who called the worst game I have ever seen offensively. I mean, I don't know how Will Howard or Emeka Ibuka or somebody doesn't go up to Ryan Day and be like, what are you doing? Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant are eating us alive. Get that ball out on the perimeter. Like, how is that the game plan? And it's, again, what do you do when you're nervous and tight? Well, we don't want to put the ball in the air because it could get intercepted. So you know what? We're gonna trust our offensive linemen. You mean the offensive line that doesn't have Seth McLaughlin, that doesn't have Josh Simmons? The offensive line that you know for a fact Tegra Shabola has struggled all season long against 2 first-round picks at defensive tackle? What are you doing? That's not confidence. That's not. I mean, you coached scared that entire game, with the exception of the first 6 plays of the drive,
Or the
first drive, and the 2-minute drill, and that's it.
Yeah.
And what's sad? This is what's sad, Eric. All they had to do was get a touchdown lead in the second half,
And the game's over.
And game's over. If they're up 7, and again, Travion Henderson lets the ball bounce. It bounces weird on the kickoff return. But again, that's coaching. Like, why is Travion back there to begin with? Well, we think we want to get him a opportunity to return one. Okay, have you coached him how to do it? Like, or are you just saying, well, let's play it like NCAA? Like, you've had Brandon Innes back there, Emeka back there, it's dumb coaching, and you start at the 6, and that's all special teams, which again, that's another area of Ryan Day's purview. How has special teams improved? It hasn't. The only way it's improved is you got Caleb Downs. And that's not special teams improving. That's Caleb Downs being awesome.
Listen, you and I could have done better on special teams by just saying, Caleb Downs, you're the returner all season. Let's roll.
Yeah. Well,
again, I don't want him to get hurt. You're coaching scared.
Yeah.
I don't want my quarterbacks to run because they might get hurt. Develop your backups.
Yeah. It's the whole idea that we don't play our best players on special teams because we don't want to get them hurt is like it's bad coaching.
Yeah.
I mean,
Urban Meyer played the best all the time.
yeah,
Jim Tressel was like, I'm only playing my best because the punt is the best play in football. Like it's the most important thing.
yeah,
Like there's just this answer he gave Bill Landis to me brings so much clarity
mm-hmm.
to where we are at currently.
Yep.
And this is why I will be shocked if we go on a run in the college football playoff.
Yeah.
I'll be shocked.
I'll be honest, and I know Buckeye fans, you guys will not like me saying this. I think we lose by at least 2 scores to whoever we play in the first round. Because I have no confidence.
Unless we were to draw someone like SMU, let's say Clemson beats SMU by a close game and SMU kicks Bama out of the playoffs and so we move up and SMU takes that spot. So, like a 7-pin matchup and SMU's 10 or something.
Yeah.
But even then SMU offensively is
That could
pretty
be tough.
good.
Yeah.
Like they're not bad. Then I might see us getting a win and then moving on and possibly, we'll see because at that point you'll probably play then like Texas, I think.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. Or Georgia. Well, maybe not because if Georgia beats Texas, it's going to be crazy. There's a lot of things that could happen. But anyways, that's beside the point. The point is this. This was the hardest question I've ever heard of the media ask.
Mm-hmm.
I hope Bill Landis is okay because I'd hate to see him get his credentials pulled. His livelihood depends on it. I don't think they would. He wasn't being condescending.
Mm-hmm.
He asked a legitimate, tough question.
Yeah.
And this was an opportunity, Zach, for Ryan Day. Like Bill, even though it was a tough question, Bill Landis set it on a tee for him.
Yep. Yeah, and he botched it.
And just like the last 4 years against Michigan, is a swing and a miss.
Yeah. If Ohio State pulled the credentials of Bill Landis, one, he would get employed somewhere else immediately.
Oh,
like
yeah.
He's one of the best beat writers. He's fair.
He's become my favorite. Favorite.
Him and Doug are fantastic. And the thing that is the reality is that's the job of that's the actual job of the media. I don't like a lot of media types, ironically we're, doing our own media, but there's a lot of media types I don't like, but that's Bill doing his job, which I think he's doing better than a lot of Ohio State beat writers, which is actually asking hard questions when things are going wrong. And that's needed to be asked the past several years now. And quite honestly, I'm surprised it was Bill and not Doug. I think Bill obviously has the gumption to do it, but Doug.
I would not be surprised to find out that Doug and Bill talked about this preemptively, and Doug probably, because I don't know that Doug was there, and so Doug and Bill's like, I'm going to ask that question, and Doug's like, yeah, you need to ask that question.
Yeah. Doug famously asked Kirk Ferentz a question about, are you ever going to like offense or something? Like just something ridiculous. And Kirk Ferentz loathed the question. And I think he said in a later press conference, I'd hate to be that guy. And Doug was like, whatever, you're terrible by employing your son as offensive coordinator or so, he didn't care. He's like, I'm doing my job. And when you get paid, I think that's the part of it. It's if you're a high school coach making 5 figures, that's different than making high 7 figures for a public university. And you need to be held accountable for that. And the media is one of the ways that you're held accountable. And I think if Ohio State would pull Bill's credentials for that, I'm like, I don't think they would. I don't think they would do that, but that's their job.
Yep. Like, share, subscribe. Really does help the channel. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below about what you thought of Ryan Day's answer to this question. This is a great question by Bill Landis. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's have some good discussion about that. If you somehow just now finding our channel, please subscribe. We really do appreciate that. It does help the channel as we continue to grow and provide Ohio State content for you heading into the college football playoff and throughout the off season here at the OHIO podcast. Zach, tell everybody where they can find you, my man.
Yeah, Big Ten Football Talk. We're on Spotify, YouTube. We drop episodes every Thursday morning. Certainly, we'll talk about playoff and other implications there. And then on the Big Ten Huddle, I'm the co-host there. Sunday nights and Tuesday nights, we go live at 9 p.m.
Yep, right after our show on Sunday, you guys can just go hop over from us over to them. It's a great 1-2 punch we got going on Sunday nights, and we're happy to be working with both JR and Zach. So it's awesome to have you guys a part of not only the Big Ten Huddle, but also the College Huddle, thecollegehuddle.com. So head on over there where you can find our show. We're the Ohio State rep. It's 75 other podcasts from coast to coast covering college football, college basketball. Some even cover college baseball. So we love collaborating with everybody over at the College Huddle. Zach, thank you so much for being in here, and thank you all for watching and participating in this. We have our live shows every Sunday night at 8 o'clock Eastern and Monday evenings at 8 o'clock, and our call-in shows Thursday night at 8 o'clock Eastern, guys. Thank you so much. We appreciate all of you. Be kind to one another. I owe someone's OH. Sing Carmen Ohio with all your heart. Till next time, Zach, you know what to do. OH.
I-O.
Go Bucks.